Unveiling the Shadows, the Pilkhana Massacre of 2009, a dark chapter in Bangladesh's history. Welcome to a special episode of Let's Learn About Bangladesh Revolution 2.0. Today, we delve into a harrowing moment in our nation's history, the Pilkhana Massacre of 2009. On February 25–26, 2009, a mutiny at the Bangladesh Rifles (BDR) headquarters in Dhaka turned into a brutal bloodbath, claiming 74 lives, including 57 army officers. This episode uncovers the events, the grievances, the aftermath, and the troubling allegations of a conspiracy involving India's research and analysis wing RA, the Awami League, and even some dishonest army officers who allegedly aided India's quest for regional hegemony. Most shockingly, many believe the majority of BDR personnel were innocent, caught in a web of manipulation. This is a story of tragedy, betrayal, and unanswered questions. Let's begin. It's February 24, 2009. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, just weeks into her term after the Awami League's 2008 election victory, visits the BDR headquarters in Pilkhana, Dhaka, to launch BDR Week. She speaks of discipline and reform, but tension brews. BDR Jawans, the rank-and-file soldiers, are frustrated by low pay, limited promotions, and exclusion from lucrative UN peacekeeping missions. They resent the army officers seconded to lead them, who they see as profiting from programs like Operation Dalbat, meant to help the poor but allegedly riddled with corruption. On February 25, during the Darbar, a forum for Jawans to air grievances, chaos erupts. Around 9:30 a.m., as BDR Director General Major General Shakil Ahmed addresses the assembly, armed Jawans storm Darbar Hall. Sepoy Moinuddin points a firearm at Shakil Ahmed. Though Brigadier General M.A. Bari briefly disarms him, the rebellion spirals. Jawans loot the armory, take officers and their families hostage, and unleash a horrific killing spree. By the end, 57 army officers, including Shakil Ahmed and his wife, plus 17 civilians, are dead, many of their bodies dumped in mass graves or sewers, a grim testament to the mutiny's savagery. The mutiny spread beyond Dhaka to 12 other towns, including Chittagong, Feni, Rajshahi, and Sylhet, with BDR outposts showing unrest. For 33 hours, Bangladesh teetered on the edge of collapse. The Awami League government, led by Hasina, faced a tough call: storm Pilkhana, risking civilian lives in the densely populated area, or negotiate. Home Minister Sahara Cotton convinced some mutineers to surrender by promising no army intervention. By February 27, after tanks rolled into Dhaka as a show of force, the rebellion ended. About 200 mutineers were arrested, many trying to flee in civilian clothes. The official narrative blames internal grievances, pay disputes and mistreatment, but many reject this as too simplistic. A darker theory persists, that India's RA, with help from the Awami League and a handful of dishonest army officers, orchestrated the mutiny to break the backbone of Bangladesh's transparent military sector. Even more striking, many argue that most BDR personnel were innocent, manipulated into the chaos by a calculated plot to serve India's hegemonic ambitions in the region. Let's unpack these allegations. On February 24, Hasina visited Pilkhana despite reports of missing submachine guns and subversive leaflets among the Jawans. Why didn't she cancel? And why did she abruptly cancel a planned dinner at Pilkhana on February 26, as the mutiny raged? Some believe she had prior intelligence but allowed the crisis to unfold. At a 2024 discussion titled, Pilkhana Carnage, Hasina and India's Conspiracy, former Colonel Abdul Haq, sacked for raising concerns, claimed RA exploited BDR grievances to incite the mutiny. He alleged that a few corrupt army officers, aligned with the Awami League and India, helped orchestrate the massacre to eliminate key military figures, many loyal to the rival Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP), who were conveniently gathered at Pilkhana. The motive: India's alleged desire to weaken Bangladesh's military, a pillar of national sovereignty, to establish regional dominance. RA's history of interference in Bangladesh, from the 1971 Liberation War to later covert operations, lends weight to these claims. Posts on X and reports suggest RA saw Bangladesh's disciplined officer corps as a threat to its influence. By allegedly colluding with dishonest army officers and Awami League leaders, RA fueled the mutiny to dismantle the military's integrity, leaving Bangladesh vulnerable to India's geopolitical control. The fact that many BDR Jawans, later convicted, were likely innocent pawns, manipulated by subversive propaganda or orders from above, only deepens the tragedy. The Awami League's response raises further questions. Former President H.M. Ershad, an army chief, argued that swift military action could have saved lives, yet Hasina's government delayed. Tanks were at Pilkhana's gates within hours, but no order came. Was this intentional, allowing the massacre to eliminate political rivals? The trials that followed, 152 mutineers sentenced to death, 161 to life imprisonment, were criticized by Human Rights Watch for torture and unfair mass trials, suggesting a cover-up to silence questions about RA, the Awami League, and complicit army officers. The aftermath left deep scars. The BDR was rebranded as Border Guard Bangladesh (BGB) to erase the stigma, but the wounds persist. Families like Habibur Rahman, father of slain Colonel Shafiq, and Jabunahar Sarkar, sister of Major Mamanal, demand justice, accusing the government of shielding the true conspirators. The murder case lingers in the appellate division, and an explosives case drags on with 200 witnesses yet to testify. For many, the innocence of most BDR Jawans, manipulated into a plot they didn't fully understand, underscores the betrayal. So, what's the truth? Was the Pilkhana massacre a spontaneous uprising, or a sinister conspiracy by RA, the Awami League, and a few corrupt army officers to fracture Bangladesh's military and pave the way for India's hegemony? The lack of a transparent investigation keeps these questions alive. What's clear is that February 25, 2009, marked a day of profound betrayal that shook trust in our institutions. Thank you for joining us for this special episode. The Pilkhana massacre reminds us how external powers and internal betrayals can exploit vulnerabilities, threatening our sovereignty. For more details, check out our sources, including a detailed YouTube documentary, https://youtube.be/l8ktxc. Join us next time as we continue exploring Bangladesh's complex journey. Until then, stay curious and question everything. Let's Learn About Bangladesh Revolution 2.0 is produced by NEWSPULSEX team. Share your thoughts on X or YouTube. See you next episode.